What's up, guys? Welcome back for episode 9. As always, I always have an illustrious guest. Was able to catch up with a good friend from high school, Breeya J. Say hello, Breeya.
Hi, how's everybody?
Yes, I'm glad that we got a chance to sit down. I've been seeing your work on Instagram.
Thank you.
It's truly astonishing to see how far you've come from those high school summer days.
Yeah, that was
You got your whole studio and mixtape series. It's nice. I was actually talking to your manager T a while back, but I know she's busy like everybody.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to connect a long time ago, but I just said, you know what, forget that, I'm gonna reach out myself. And I'm glad I did. So yeah. Today's episode is gonna be interesting. I'm excited, as always. We always have a good topic. Say hi. Today's episode, we're gonna talk about innovation and why I think, or why is innovation important if you want to be purposeful. You know, this podcast is always centered around purpose living, the things it entails, the things you encounter from the high points to the low points. So as always, I'm trying to find something encouraging and find people who are inspiring and who don't mind sharing their story. So let's get right into it. Tell us who you are, what you do.
I'm Breeya J. I am a dancer, choreographer, instructor, graphic designer, and a writer. Like we were talking about earlier, I actually wrote my first ebook.
What's it called again?
It's called Breathe. It's like, I have a link on my Instagram. You just click on it there, and then I send it to you via email. My next book,
so it's a free book.
Well, it's $5. So you
$5.
purchase it, but it's like cheap. I wanted to be like cheap and affordable. It was like the first one, so I was just like, it was more of a passion project, just to get it out there rather than like for profit, if that makes sense.
So what birthed all that? Like, what made you just say, you know, I'm gonna write a book and inspire some people?
Well, I've been told since I was like younger that I should write a book. But people, like, I'm very open and transparent about my like journey at this point in my life. And like one of my best friends, Valet, since we were like in middle school, she's like, "You gonna write a book one day? You gonna write a book?" And I was like, "Girl, I don't read books."
Oh no, you and me both. You and me both.
And it's nothing like I read, but I don't like actively just.
Nah, I don't read at all. I just like, you hear me joke about it, but I'm serious. If it's a paragraph on Instagram, like scroll.
But I read, like, we're talking about purpose, so I read stuff that I feel like is like going towards my purpose, or things that are like intriguing. Like I don't just sit around just like reading like a bunch of. I
hear you.
But I wrote it really because of all the things I've gone through. I have wisdom that some people don't have, and I feel like, compared to a lot of people, what they're going through now, I went through it at like 14, 15, 16 years old. Yeah. So it's, and I see people like going through their journey, and I just wanted to like kind of reach out and help people. That's why I said it's like $5. Yeah. So I was just like, with $5, I was like, I honestly didn't even want to like sell it, but my friend was like, "No, you put work into it. You should at least sell it for $5." And I was like, some profit. And I was like, okay. And then I turned 25 in June. And I wanted to have like to walk into 25, walking in my purpose, kind of. Yeah. So and I think even with dancing, like it came. I began dancing in high school, but it was really like more like therapy for me because I was very.
So wait, you started dancing in high school? I thought you had started before that.
I was like hip hop, but it wasn't anything like crazy. Nothing so like serious. All the leaps, turns, all that I learned from Miss Kelly.
From Miss Kelly. Oh, okay.
So I started pretty. Yeah, like late. So I used it as like therapy because I couldn't physically say. I didn't have like the know-how to articulate my emotions. And
so that was
like my out. Yeah. And so as I've gotten older, I just wanted to walk into my purpose in 25, and so I read something like a long time ago. It takes 21 days to start like a new habit. Yeah. And so it's 21 days worth of like daily like quotes or aspirations, whatever you want to call them.
Something that you've said, to yourself.
Stuff that I use to myself, wisdom that I've given.
That help you kind of get over.
Exactly. And then it's stuff I've given like to my friends, advice I give. And it's just like, it's an array of topics. It's not just about like loving yourself. It's about loving yourself. It's about being forgiving. It's about like stepping into it. It's about friendships. You know how like relationships change. Because I've experienced it a lot, especially like in the last 5 years of my life, how much relationships can change, and then you go from talking to somebody every day to seeing them when you see them
every blue moon, and it's like, what happened? What was the switch? So
and I just look at it sometimes. It's like it's not really. Like intentional. It's just like life happens, and I think the older you get, the more you realize that people start working in school, and people are getting married and having kids, and it's just you don't have the access, the free, like the excessive amount of time that you used to have. And it's not that you don't care; it's just life happens.
The lanes change. I look at it as like you're on the freeway, slow, fast, in between,
exactly,
etc., HOV, all this other stuff, and so. It was helped with my wife, but because I was always bothered about some of the friends I grew up with. You know, I thought we'd have a lifelong friendship. We'll always be close, so I was willing and open to do anything to let them know that that's where I stood. My wife had to politely remind me that, you know, that's not the season, and you got to be okay with that.
Exactly. I think that's
because you're gonna exhaust yourself.
Exactly.
Trying to get in the fast lane, and you need to be in the slow lane with your family, or you need to be in the HOV with your family, and you trying to get over there in the fast lane racing with them, and y'all on two different paths.
Exactly.
And so that's something I had to learn, which was tough, because you're always, I feel like, subliminally taught, like, through movies and what you see, like if it's friendships last forever or last a lifetime, and nothing should ever come in between that, and that's just like, I feel like it's falsified information to an extent, because they don't show you the real scope. Maybe sometimes you gotta step back, because in my case, I have a family, so. You know, I have friends that want to go to happy hour on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'm like, you know, I got a newborn and a wife. I have to go home. It's more appropriate if I go home. Like, going out to get drunk on Tuesday, like, that's not ideal.
It's not your life anymore.
And I can't, you know, I can explain it, some get it, some don't, but I had to learn to say, hey, man, I can't do that. And be okay with
learning, I think that's a big part of, like,
learning.
That's, like, it's so hard for me to say no. And I learned that in college, because I would pile so much stuff, and then I'm like, I don't have time for anything. I don't have time for myself. I don't have time to sleep.
I'm a yes man. My wife likes to tell me that. She's very motivational. I think she's enjoying hearing this podcast right now. She doesn't listen to my podcast. I tell her, I try to shout her out, but she don't listen. But I'm a yes man, and like I said before, she had to tell me, hey man,
you gotta cut that out.
That is dead wet, and if you bring that back up, we're gonna have some issues. You know, English language. But I feel you on that. Let's keep talking about what you've been up to since the last time we talked.
What have I been up to?
You recently just got back from Miami.
Yeah, I moved back like a year and a half ago.
What part of Miami were you in?
Like North Miami.
No. Is that the hood?
No, it's not the hood. It's just like North Miami. It's kind of like how you have Spring compared to Houston. It's kind of like, it's not a suburb because it's still Miami, but it's like a different part. Yeah. Like Miami isn't as big as people think it is. Like especially if you're from Houston, you think like every city's huge, and it's like no. Miami like to go from like one side of Miami to the other is like 20 minutes. 30 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it gets bad with traffic because it's like a bunch of people in a little area. But like if you're, I used to go from like my campus, which is like in North Miami, to South Beach in like 20 minutes.
Really?
Like it was nothing.
So how do you get used to like not seeing snakes and stuff? Because there's a lot of like pythons down there.
You don't actually see snakes. You see a lot of lizards.
Ugh.
Lizards. It's like lizards are like everywhere. It's really gross. I'm just like.
But you don't see snakes.
Not
That's
really.
why I'm afraid
Here
of Miami.
and there, but you don't really see a lot of. It's just a lot of like lizards, and it's like a lot of different type of lizards. Like holes, like the lizards at the tail. Yeah. Like it's like they're not that strange looking, but you like I used to have lizards.
They're
like,
in their family.
Yeah,
and they just walk on your patio and stuff.
Well, they just be walking around. It's like gross. Yeah, I'm not really an outside person like that. So.
Yeah. I'm not an outside person, but I get real sketchy when I start to see wildlife. I be like, okay, I'm a city person. We don't see this.
We don't see all
We
this.
see insects.
Yeah.
We don't see animals.
It was the lizards that got me, because here, you see a lizard like here and there, but you don't actively see
the
lizards.
little, but they be like baby lizards.
Yeah, no, there was like lizards like this big, like they were huge. I was like, we don't see that at all.
And that's the only wildlife you see in Miami?
I mean, yeah, birds and stuff, but it's nothing crazy. If you go further up Florida, then you start seeing like alligators and stuff, and like and then it gets more country, so they have like cows and horses and stuff.
Yeah.
But like Orlando, I saw like there's like ranches and stuff out there.
In Orlando? Mm-hmm. Hey, mama, you can't go under there. You got stuck.
I think people forget how big Florida is too.
Yeah.
Like,
Florida's a long state.
It is
a long state, and it'll take you 5 hours to get from one side of the state to the other side.
To the other side, like to go from.
Yeah.
I drove a couple times from Houston to the Florida. Going from like the top of Florida to Miami takes 8 hours. Like that was one of the longest parts of the trip.
Top of Florida
to Miami took like 8 hours.
Yeah, so we went to Port St. Joe like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
A month back? Yeah, a month ago. And it took like 3 hours to get from the coast, like the state line of Florida, to where we were, right? Like 3 hours? Yeah. 3 hours. It's ridiculous. And I was like,
it's like being in Texas.
Getting through like Louisiana, Alabama,
Fast.
Mississippi.
It's like quick.
Like I take a nap, wake up like, oh, we're in Florida.
Alabama.
Yeah. And we're in Florida, go to sleep, wake up, we're still in Florida. That was
getting out of Texas and getting down to Florida was like the longest parts, because like going through New Orleans and Alabama and stuff was like nothing.
It's a breeze.
Yeah.
It's just that Florida.
But you think about it, like in Houston, you drive from one side to the other, it's an hour, so it doesn't like really affect you. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm ready.
But I think because we stay here, we're used to it. Because driving here to San Antonio, driving here to Austin, it's like a breeze. So driving here to Waco, it's like cool. Or Dallas, it's like, it's just a low ride.
But when you don't know where you're going, you kind of like...
Yeah, it's like, dang, we still in the same... Yeah, I feel you.
Trees.
Okay, that's cool. So you decide to come back and you're working at various studios as an instructor. What are you teaching outside of hip-hop? You teaching everything?
Hip-hop, jazz, contemporary... lyrical, and leaps and turns.
Okay, and you're doing every age group?
Yes, it's from, what's the youngest I teach? The youngest I've taught period is like 2-year-olds. But right now I think the youngest is like, how are they, like 6-ish? Yeah. To like junior high schoolish. Yeah. But I've taught like adults and all kinds of stuff.
All that stuff. Yeah. I saw you have your
extensive
catalog and arsenal. Yeah, I've seen your classes and videos and stuff. So you have your own business though, right? Like
Breeya J is actually like
your brand,
my brand. Because I do so much. I was actually just listening to a podcast this morning. It's called Black Girls and Own. I love it. Mm-hmm. It's it deals with like for women of color, black women, and it was talking about this lady who she had so many different skills, and so she kept trying to put herself into being this one person, and rather than it's like, if I have all these talents, why just stick to one?
Yeah, create your brand and umbrella it.
So that's why it's like when people are like who are you? It's like, well, in what aspect? Or do you do you mean who I am? Because like I'm creative, but I'm also like a teacher, and I'm also, it's like these different parts of me. And I think that's part of like innovation. Like I think that's a part of like me really walking into my purpose, was me accepting the fact that I'm not gonna do one thing. Like it's just not gonna work. I create, no matter what that means. Like I'm creating it somehow.
Yeah, and that's why I picked it, because I felt that best described you as a person.
Thank you.
Being innovative is a broad statement, but it's a very, you got to be masterful in it, because some people just aren't innovative.
Yeah. And
some people are. They're able to create something new out of something that's been done a million times before, and be able, and when I say create, I mean it's so eye appealing that it captivates you. Most people don't have that ability to captivate, even though it's the same thing they've seen before. It's just not, they don't have that captivating aspect.
I think especially when it comes to like dancing, one of the things I always teach my students is that you kind of take the blueprint, which is the choreography, and you take who you are and you put them together. and because they're not gonna dance like me because I've been dancing since I was their age, you know.
Yeah.
But I think most people forget the you part of being innovative, like the creativity, the individuality. Sorry, the originality aspect of it. People try so hard, like I want to look like this rather than looking like them.
Yeah,
and
take the blueprint and just stab there.
Make it, exactly. And I think a lot of people are so big on trying to be the next this or next that they're not being the next them. And that's the biggest part of I think being innovative is just like knowing who you are, what you stand for. Like there's certain stuff that I just don't do and won't do.
Yeah.
Like even in, cause I've been given opportunities and I take an opportunity, you know, I talk through it with like my friends or, you know, like my manager and stuff.
Team.
And I'm like, okay, do you think? And sometimes they're like, no, that's not the kind of brand you want. Is this what you want? Like, what do you want your brand to be? What do you want to be known for? And it's like, I'd be in a video, but I don't want to be like a video vixen. Like, that's not my thing.
That's not your thing. You want them.
And no, like, you know, disrespect to the women who are. Because, you know, like, I'm pro-woman, so whatever, you know, avenue fits you use. But it's just not my thing. Like, I'd be the lead in a video, but I won't be like, you know, I'm just
the sex symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, before we jump into your definition of innovation, like you already sampled on. I mean, I have a sister, I have a wife, I have daughters, so I'm not like, you know, against it because guys are the same way. They try to flaunt their persona or bravado. Yeah. They try to get suave. So, I mean, it's like, if you don't have to do that, then don't. But if you feel like you want to, then do it.
I feel like it depends on the person. Choice. For people who know me, I'm a very free spirit. I think that's a part of what captivates people when it comes to me. Just whether I'm writing or whatever, is I'm very free in expressing who I am.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I think you know, like growing up, it was like either you know you're this or you're that. Yeah. And I was never either.
In between.
I was just kind of like floating to my own rhythm, doing my own thing.
Trying to make things.
And I think that's a really important part. It's just really, you know, just sticking to what is you. And really like I said, I'm not like the video vixen type. I don't feel comfortable. You know, it's just not one of those things. Like I don't mind, you know. I dance, so you know I want some very revealing costumes. Yeah, everybody has. It's a different.
It's thing. A different like lane. We're talking about the same thing. It's a different lane, cause some are just like straight up like, you know, like strip club vixens and have no shame in it. And I'd be like, you know, that's cool, but
it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
So some women are more modest, and I understand. Like for some women, I'm provocative, and I don't see myself as being overly provocative.
No, but it's a difference because some are just like, you know, and then it's a
balance,
sensitive conversation or a sensitive topic because it's like me. I'm the type of person I try to look at the root reason on why you do what you do. Yeah. And so, of course, that's going to always spring up questions and like, just like, okay, maybe you do this because of that and that because of this. But not in the sense that I'm being judgmental, but in the sense that I'm trying to understand.
I think it's important, too, is just ask to understand and not to give your bias. Because people give biases all the time. You're like, that's not what I said. That's not who I am.
Yeah, you're right. So, you're right. I try to... keep an internal synopsis, but always ask if I want to ask. But most of the time, I don't want to ask because I mean, it's not my place to ask. I just be like, well, maybe, but I don't know. Yeah. But I leave it at that. I never try to get to the extent where it's judgmental, and that's why I say it's a sensitive thing because it's like for a woman to say, "Oh, I'm pro woman," and if a woman wants like the slut walk with Amber Rose thing, like. The outside looking in, if you're not a woman, you won't really understand what she's grasping at, but other women completely understand it and run with it. I mean, I'm just like, you know, okay, you're expressing you being a woman, and
it's not, well, even with the slut walk, it's not necessarily about being a woman, it's about being slut shamed.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I mean, this is a whole different topic, but it's about like how you cannot even be active, like sexually active, and still be. There's rumors going on. Like, it happened to me in high school. Like, it'd be, like, rumors around going about you, and you're like, I don't even know who that guy is.
See, that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I be like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
But I'm not in the predicament or place to judge.
Yeah,
I
it's
just be like,
it's like similar to like taking back ownership.
Yeah, taking back ownership.
Kind of how like black people use the N word. It's the same idea.
Oh, okay. See, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but it's like you gotta ask questions.
When I see the interviews, I be like, they be yelling and all that other stuff, and I just be like, I can't hear what you're saying because of what you're wearing. So yeah.
But even with that, I feel like too, it's just one of those people have to get past. I'm so open. People have to get past like their own biases and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So innovation. What's your definition? If you had anything else on top of what you've already said,
like I said
what
earlier,
you think innovation is?
It's just about being creative. It's about finding your what, your why, and your who. Like, who are you? What do you want? Why do you do what you do?
So what is your what, why, and who?
My what is what I'm called to do. And I think your what changes was basically a purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like that changes over time. Like, what I was called to do 3 years ago is not what I'm necessarily called to do.
You feel like it evolves to an overall
I feel
goal?
like it does. Like, I think
It's
even
seasonal?
in all the things I do, from writing my book to just being like, I was an RA in college, just everything. All mine have to do with the purpose of helping people.
Yeah.
Like, that's really big for me, is helping people. So some way in which I'll even like in my classes, I'm still very motivational. Like, you take you. What is you? It's like, it's about you. And so it's like, even though I'm teaching a skill, it's still, I'm teaching confidence. I'm teaching respect. I'm teaching understanding. I'm teaching you're not going to be perfect. Because that was one of the things I grew up with, like, issues, like the perfection thing. Like, I want to get this. And it's like, that's not going to happen. So that's my what. My why is like, why do you do what you do? My why is honestly, I don't want to, like, be old and look back on my life and wish I'd taken more risks.
Regrets?
Yeah, I don't want regrets.
Yeah.
That's really like what my biggest why is. It's just like, I don't want any regrets. Even if it's like I messed up and I was like, ooh, that was a bad decision.
Yeah.
I still rather know that I made that bad decision. And rather than wondering like, had I made this decision, would have.
You had the
and
check bag of doing some things. Yeah, I'm planning on going skydiving.
I want to go skydiving
with some friends. I'm a scaredy cat. I'm scared of heights. But the reasoning and why I want to do skydiving is because I told myself in January, and I told my wife that this was my year of doing, like you said. And I've done some things that, I could have thought about more better, but I did it. I thought about it and did it. And it's just to teach myself that, I can do things and not just aspire to do things. And then I have kids. I can teach them, hey, if you want to do this, you can make it happen. One, if it's God's will for you. That's the ultimate thing. And then secondly, if this is what you want to do, you don't have to just sit and think about things and dream about things. You actually can do it.
Put in the work.
And so I feel like
so you give yourself freedom.
Yeah. Skydiving. And not just living it, confining myself in a box, because we say it all the time. The generations before us had the innate ability to do a lot of stuff and could have done it, but I know I hear a lot of my family members say, oh, when I was your age I had the opportunity to do this, but I didn't do that. And it's like they say it with a regretful tone. And
my
so
grandmother does it. Like,
that creates the mindset in us where it's like, you know what, I don't want to live in that regretful mindset. I want to be 100 years old and be like, I lived an amazing life, did some crazy stuff, but I still lived my life. So
I think like
with skydiving, that's what I wanted to be.
What really on set like that for me was moving to Miami, because when I moved, I didn't know anybody. I was like, well, I'm gonna go. I went to school and I ended up like graduating with all these kind of friends and been in these different organizations. But it's just to push myself, because I didn't like the idea of like being in Houston and had never lived anywhere else and never adventured anywhere else and being too afraid to go.
You're saying that really
somewhere
loud.
else.
My wife would push me.
But that was like a big thing. And then my why is also my family. I come back, like, I'm a Black American, So it's like when I look back on my family and the progression, like I'm the first to do a lot. Like I'm the first to go off to school. I'm the first to not have a kid in high school.
Yeah.
I'm the first like woman in my lineage to graduate high school.
Yeah.
Then to go to college, and then I obtained 2 degrees. So it's like for me, a lot of my why is my family because I have like younger siblings and like cousins and stuff who look up to me.
So and you created another lane that's become a path. So that's good. I'm not the first to graduate high school. Getting ready to graduate college, but I think I'm the first in my family to actually say, hey, this is my purpose, and I'm going to seek it with all of my being. And so eventually my goal with this is to have a TED Talk. I'm saying it on recording.
I want to do a TED Talk too.
When it happens, I can be like, I said it and believed it. I believe I'll be able to do a TED Talk. I believe, and this is why I do the podcast, because I believe that, it inspires people. People have hit me now from school and say, hey, I've listened to your podcast, they're really helpful. And I'm like, I wasn't sure, but I said I want to do it, and I did it. I jumped out there and did it, and I'm figuring out as I go, as you can see.
It's a learning
and it's a learning process, but I'm just glad that I've gotten out of that box of, I'm going to do this. Yeah. I can say, nah, I did this.
I think so many people focus on surviving if they don't live. And like that's
what
really
life brings. Either you survive or you live. Yeah. And I'm trying to live for the sake of my kids. Yeah. So they won't have to.
So they're your why.
Yeah. So not that they won't have to struggle, because adversity creates a lot of positive things, but at the same time, you don't have to confine yourself to a box. You can say, hey, this is my umbrella, and these are the things I am masterful at. Meaning I can get to a point where I do it effortlessly, but at the same time, in that effortlessness or whatever it's called, in the point of where I can just flow and it's not no struggle, I'm still learning at the same time.
I think this life you learn.
So that's my whole reasoning why I do all that I do. But mostly because I understand it's my purpose, and I understand that this is my talent to help and benefit someone else. Because I feel like that's what purpose is. That's what it all leads back to, is some form of servitude. Everybody has a different talent or gift, so I feel like that is. But how do you? We can wrap up because we're getting ready for our second half. Okay. So y'all guys stay tuned for the next half. We'll come back and dive into innovation and more of what Breeya has to offer us. Thank you. Stay tuned. Hey, back for part 2. Let's jump right into it. That was a weird pause. Okay, so how do you talked about how you use innovation at work, but how do you use it on a more personal and social level? How do you not veer from that element, so to say? So, talk about that.
I did this thing to where, like, New Year starts in January, and then my birthday's in June. So every 6 months or so, I look at my life.
When's your birthday?
June 20th.
Mom, June 11th.
Good, June. Yeah, see, it's that creativity just flows through us.
You hear that, babe? Creative.
It just flows.
Okay, I'm just playing, but keep going.
We just gotta get better at, sticking to it.
Yeah.
We have all these ideas.
I be flipping.
We like the idea.
And that's my thing. That's why I did my year of do, because I'll be like, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I've done nothing. So,
exactly. But that's a part of like really just sticking and making it an everyday thing. So like I said, every like 6-ish months or so, I kind of do like a self-evaluation, like where I am in life.
That's smart.
And I will say that at 25, I'm not where I thought I'd be, but it's based off of choices that I made. So like with me deciding to move home was a choice I made, and I think a lot of people looked at it and they were like, but you're going backwards. And I was like, no. I think sometimes in order to move forward, it's like a slingshot. Like you have to pull back a little bit. Yeah. And I think I was doing too much. And I wasn't and I was doing, but I wasn't walking in my purpose, and I knew that. Because when you start feeling like depression and anxiety, like that something, it's like your spirit telling you that something's not right. And so, and I just got to the point to where I had fell into this really deep depression. I was in the last 3 months of me being in Miami, and I was just and I decided to move on a whim. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was I'm moving home. And it was just
But it's not just on a whim. This is
it had been progressing.
A continual conversation, because I've gotten to that point in a lot of stuff, and I think a really point where place where I got really depressed, and everything was just caving in was when my mom passed. Yeah. And in the moment, and me and my wife talk about it all the time now, in the moment I was able to handle everything because there was so much going on. But that lingering effect months later, I was just what is happening to me?
And you don't always realize
my reality is changing.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Is I very much look at who I am as a person. And like I said, over the last 5 years, I'm just such a more open and patient person.
Yeah.
But in order to move forward, you have to do a lot of unpacking. And I think in life, especially as Black people, we're taught to push
survive.
Through. Yeah, we talk survive, push through. That happened. Well, deal with it and move on.
Yeah, we talk about push through just to get by. We don't talk about overachieving.
Exactly.
And really breaking barriers and doing more than what's expected. We just do right at what's expected. Yeah. We don't never push that envelope. I'm past that. I want to push the envelope.
Yeah, that, and I just when I was in college, I got to this point to where I got real depressed, and I had a breakdown in the middle of campus. It was bad. It was just too much stuff on me. I was doing too much in the middle of the day. I don't know what hit me, but I literally fell into tears. And when you're on college campus, a lot of them have free counseling. I called that day and I was I need to get in to see somebody as soon as possible. And I went in and I just started talking to her, and I had a once a week session. And as I the sessions progressed, I realized it was stuff from when I was 14 years old that was bothering me.
That was dormant and just came out.
And it all just came out. And I think as far as me, like I said, finding a biggest part about being innovative and being purposeful is walking in your truth.
Yeah.
And it was certain things that you don't I'm a very, I don't want to say prideful, but I'm a very strong person. Yeah. And to be well, this is bothering me from 9 years ago. That was hard for me to admit to myself. And it had nothing to do with her. My counselor was if you talk to me, you talk to me. If you don't, she was the coolest, best counselor ever.
Hey, baby.
But it was one of those things to where I really had to. She's so cute.
Hey guys, Jnai's here. Say hey, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really had to start looking at that, and then I had talked to one of my bosses because I was RA, and I was I think I'm gonna quit. I don't think I can do this anymore. And he was just well, you're not taking time for yourself.
Yeah.
And so then I kind of learned in that process is you need time to rest. You can't be on go all the time. And so I'm very intentional in taking care of me. If I'm starting to feel this anxiety flaring or depression, I'm okay, well, what in my life? What in my life do I need to move around?
See,
because it's just it's just necessary.
I'm smiling because we haven't talked, but my wife has said the same thing to me 100 times, backwards and forwards. Daddy has to do something. Okay. Sorry guys, Jnai wants to be on the podcast with Daddy and Breeya. Yeah, my wife has said the same thing, and I think that was what triggered the overall depressive state and the dormant things that I just kind of subdued with drinking or subdued with smoking. But when it hit a breaking point, all that stuff had to come out, and I really had to go to one thing and check it, assess it, reevaluate it. Figure out what's the root cause. Is it important? Is it not important? Yeah. Most of the time, everything that I was checking wasn't important. Yeah. And that's why I said before, that's why I'm at a point now that if I hang out with friends, I do. If I don't, I'm not bothered by it. At one point in my life, that set my temperament for an extended period of time. Because of this role that I'm in now, I'm a family man. And my priorities have shifted. Yeah. I can't let other things dictate my temperament to the extent where I'm not in my position to do what I'm supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's crazy that you say that. I say that to everybody on my podcast, that it's crazy that they're saying things that I'm either experiencing right now or have experienced.
Yeah, I think I feel like the closer. I was listening to that, like I said, that podcast, Black Girls, and I listen to that every day. Like a part of my walking intentionally is like listening to that because it just helps me. It's such an extent.
It addresses a lot of stuff.
And it talked about like being intentional, and it was basically like she's so cute.
Hey, baby.
Basically, like everything you do, you say, your actions, everything leads to your purpose or further away from it. And like when she, when the chick said that, it really hit me, and I was just like, every step you take is leading one way or the other.
Yeah.
Whether like I want abs.
Yeah.
If I didn't do my crunches today, then I'm leading further away from my goal.
Yeah, it takes away because the path that God has already designed for your life never changes, but the steps are dictated on you.
Yeah.
You can get to some steps quicker, or you can't.
Yeah. And it's like you're gonna keep. What I learned is
Stop.
There are certain lessons you're supposed to learn, and if you don't take away what you're supposed to, you're gonna keep repeating that lesson. It might pop up in different ways, but it's gonna be the same lesson that keeps occurring until you get it. I think too, I manifest a lot. Yeah. Just by like speaking what I want into existence. Hey, like one of my things this year was like I want to travel, because growing up I didn't travel a lot. And I was just like, I'm going to manifest. I'm going to travel a lot in 2018. Like, that was like my one goal if I did nothing else.
Yeah. Now keep talking.
You're good. I was like, if I do nothing else, then I'm gonna travel. And I've gone on 3 trips. I have 2 more to go on.
Yeah.
And they weren't all just like planned. It was like stuff would come up, and they'd be like, "Well, do you want to do this?" And I'd be like, "Well, yeah." Like,
no.
And I really I'm big on manifestation, like really, and not just people like say like I want to do this, but I say it, and you have to put the work behind it too.
And then that creates. I'm taking a psychology class, and one thing that lines up with that, they call it a reticular activating system. Mm-hmm. So basically, when you fixate your mind on one thing, the neurons in your brain. Now you program to always spot that one thing. Exactly. So if you program your brain to say, "Hey, I'm only gonna find blue things that I see in the room," in a matter of seconds, because of your RAS, you only see the blue things. And she's like really having a moment. Sorry guys, but I feel like, and that's why I have a year of due, because. It's not to supersede what God has willed for me, because I know God's plan is way better than mine, but it's to make me not be lazy. I was listening to a sermon last night, and he was basically saying that, he's not condemning laziness, but he just wants you to look at it in a different perspective. Mm-hmm. What are you doing that's making you slow down enough to not work?
What excuses?
And so, for me, because I am a slothful person, it's just something I've acquired over time. I ask myself now, what am I doing that's making me slow down? Because if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or if I'm doing things that I'm aspiring to do, I wouldn't have a reason where I'm just like dragging my feet. Mm-hmm. And so, I feel like, in a sense, I kind of try to activate or manifest. I try to gravitate to the things that I aspire to do. So I'm not just circling, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and do nothing on top of doing other stuff for other people. So I feel that's in deep, and it's nice to hear you say that. We can talk about because it's kind of moving fast. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say about, like, I guess how you incorporate, or just incorporate what you do?
Okay. So, in my personal life, I meditate. Mm-hmm. I'm actually not Christian.
Okay.
I was, but I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
So I had to find things that like helped calm my mind. I'm that person. My brain goes like a mile a minute. Like it's like going constantly. And I ended up taking a yoga class in college. And the biggest thing about yoga is it's training the way you think.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I'm only going to work on the inhale and the exhale, and that's all you end up thinking about, and then 40 minutes have passed, and you're like,
wow,
where did all this time go?
I've done something productive.
And I've done something productive, and I meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I think people think about meditation, they think like this very zen, peaceful thing.
Yeah, because that's the image.
And it's the image, and I think, and so when people like hear me talk about like meditation, they think I'm like this really zen fit person, and then they like see like this ratchet side of me, and they're like, wait,
what's going on?
Like what's going on? And
lost.
I think people don't always take in considerations, like we talked earlier, is like you're not this or that. Like I've meditated to like trap music, and then yoga to like trap music. It's kind of like whatever my spirit is feeling like. Even like I said, we're working on your purpose, and then it's in my everyday. I'm mindful of who I am.
Yeah.
You know, Breeya. I am not perfect. I don't claim to be.
Yeah.
That's why I'm very transparent in my platform. It's like I am who I am. Some days I have good days. Some days I have bad days. And those days where I have those not so good days, it's also about like forgiving yourself. Because some days you'll like look at the day. It's like 4 o'clock, and you're like, I've done nothing all day.
Yeah.
And you get mad at yourself because you're like, I wasted a whole day. And you take it like, you know what? I did that.
Maybe I needed to.
Maybe I needed to be still. And I think in the last 6 months, I've learned a lot of stillness. I am not a patient person. I'm the person, if I want it, I go get it.
Yeah, get up and do it.
And it's just like sometimes, like especially when you're like walking in purpose, people don't talk about the pain of walking in your purpose, because it's not all like, even like I said with meditation and yoga and stuff, it's not always this beautiful thing. Like sometimes you'll be meditating and then next thing that you're crying. Yeah,
it's hardships. It's because like I guess for me, I aspire to do so much in so little time that I'll impulsively just get out and do stuff.
Yeah.
And so in learning, because this is my season of due, that I can step back from being like so obsessed where I just do it and don't think it through, where I say, okay, I want to do this. I'm going to brainstorm to the best of my abilities, seek counsel if I feel like I need counsel, and then get out and do it.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to, there is no hit or miss. There's just doing. There's just doing.
And I think that's really great that you like a year of doing. Like,
it helps keep me from fluctuating, because I'm the type of person too, I get antsy and anxious if I've done nothing.
Yeah.
And I've always been the person where I'll mirror what somebody else has done.
Yeah.
So now I really get to sit back and really assess me. Who are you, BJ? Who is Byron? What do you enjoy? Yeah. You know.
Who are you? Why do you like this? Why don't you like this? Why people don't ask why?
To ask myself through the help of people close by me. This podcast is not geared around my wife, but I'm mentioning her a lot. She's over there laughing. She's like a
very important role, because sometimes you need that person. Sometimes you need a person in your life. Like a part of me being so transparent is in the midst of me going through therapy and stuff. I was in a relationship, and he was so like nobody else I'd ever dated before. He was so like calm. Yeah. And you ever met like, you know, like me, I went through like a really rough childhood. Yeah. So to meet somebody, and you know, most people use like, they have like these traumas and these things that you can tell, especially once you start unpacking your stuff. You can like kind of see people who you can tell what they, you know, that they're going through stuff. And he was really just like, he hadn't really gone through like just a lot. So just to meet somebody who was just like a good, honest, open person, and like it'd be times where, you know, I'd be like upset and I'd be like cussing him out, and he'd be sitting there and be like,
that's women and their emotions, because I've done that.
Yeah, I'd be like just cussing him out, and he'd just be calm, and I'm like, why are you so calm? And then I'd go back to it, and he'd be like, then he'll be like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And then we're able to talk through it. And he really, on top of going to therapy, I think he helped me learn how to open up. But I think a part of it was just like having that comfort. Because a lot of us don't grow up having that person who we feel comfortable enough to tell ourselves to.
Yeah, we kind of create a
face for everybody.
Yeah, we create a face, but we kind of create a bubble. And so when traumatizing things that just break us down, because that's all depression really is. I feel like it is. It's a combination of things that really just tear you down. And the black community, and especially, you know, our social circle and culture, it's frowned upon to go sit and vent your issues to a neutral source. Yeah. Like, I was to the point where I had to go to therapy and sit and talk out my issues.
Yeah.
And my therapist was either my wife or somebody that I knew was in that role, but it was a neutral source that, okay, but Daddy has to finish the recording. Okay, I'm sorry. It was one or the other, but in talking and really getting it out to address like internally.
And they know what questions to ask. Like, you'll be talking about one thing and they don't ask you a question, and then you end up talking about something that you never even thought you'd talk about or tell somebody. And then it's stuff that, like, let's be honest, like, there are things about your truth that you don't really know how to tell people. Yeah. Like, when it's like one day, like, when I wasn't a Christian anymore, like, I was just like, how do I tell people?
How do you tell people
that I'm not a Christian?
You want to step back?
Yeah. And it was like one of the hardest things. And it's like, once I got to the point to where, like, I think telling, like, my family, it was like one of the hardest things.
Because
like,
your family,
they're not like super Christian. Like, I was never like, we were never like in church all the time. But it's just like to go off and be one thing and then come back and you're like, well, I don't really necessarily believe that.
I feel like people have stepped back from the belief, because I'm a firm believer. But I had to, like, reassess and evaluate, because the people that was presenting it to me weren't being honest. Yeah. So in their honesty, it was like, how can you profess something and you're not even
being honest and
being what you're professing? So in stepping back from that, reevaluating and then obtaining a personal relationship through things, I'm able to say, hey, this is what I believe because of the relationship I've established. But at the same time, I'm getting to the point where I understand. Yeah. And it's not my position to say if somebody wants to reevaluate. That's what I feel like life is about, in the sense it's questioning what you're being taught and trying to find the true source. You can't get up there. You can't get up there.
I think it's just about questioning in general. Like I said, I do an assessment every 6 months, but lately I've been trying to, like, write out, like, monthly goals. Yeah. And I'll be honest, like, it has not been working great.
No,
like,
you see, I wrote this stuff down months ago, and I'm just starting to get on top of it.
I did it. So it has to go into, like, you have to go into, like, this mindset. I listened to what's his name? Because I'm trying to think of it. I can't think of it. Eric Thomas. And I listen to him.
Preacher. He do a lot of yelling.
He do yell a lot. No, he does. Hey. But, because, like, sometimes, like, I follow him on Instagram, and I'll be early in the morning, and I click, and the next thing you know, I'm being yelled at. And I'm like, whoa, it's too early for this. But one of his I don't necessarily listen to, like, I was listening to one of them, and it was talking about how being successful is a mindset. It's not about feelings. Because, like, every day you don't wake up feeling like you want to go to the gym, but you know you got to go to the gym.
It's creating that habit where you do it regardless of how you feel.
Exactly. And I think it's just... She's adorable.
She's all in the podcast. We're like, the baby screaming. Yeah, no, I feel you. It really is a mindset, and that's... I can keep going back to this year of due, but in this year, I'm learning how to cultivate and germinate some things that I've never done before.
And I'm proud of you, because a lot of people don't ever step into that. Because stepping into, like, a year, I didn't have a year of due. Every year, like, since I was, like, I think 19 or something like that. Yeah. Every year, like, when I turn the next age, I give myself, like, a goal, like,
something
a thing
you have to do.
And for 24, it was like freedom. Yeah. Like, freedom to leave relationships, freedom to stop doing this, freedom to stop being a yes woman, you know, because I'm really bad at saying no. Freedom to, like, post my videos, like, you know, because up until this year I had never really, like, posted anything. Like, anything, and it was
because that doing creates so much exposure.
It does.
And even the thought of, man, I'm really exposing myself. And it's like brings so much, like, fear and anxiety.
Yeah, and it's just it's that fear of
not knowing.
And I think it's that fear of, like,
if you'll be accepted.
But I think once you really step into your truth, that whole will I be accepted stops to matter. Because, like, I hear like I said, like that podcast I listen to, Black Girls, they're like Christian, and so one the lady, she was talking about how everything she does is for God. It's not for a human person is for God. So she doesn't care. Like when she's doing something and she knows that she's in her purpose when she's doing it. She doesn't worry about what people are going to think because the person who is supposed to reach is going to reach.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like even when I wrote my book, like I said, like I'm not Christian anymore, but a lot of the principles, certain principles, like this is what I grew up in. You know, treat people the way you want to be treated, like those type of things. I still very much stick to. And when I wrote my book, I was like, even if one person reads this, if that was the one person that was supposed to read it, I'm okay with that.
And that's how I feel like that's the foundation for thriving. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's cutting hair, it's being able to be a teacher, husband, father, all these things, and because I know these are the things I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. I've gotten to the point where it doesn't matter
what these outside sources
who's looking or what they're saying, because that's not. I'm still gonna wake up and I'm still a dad. If I wake up, I'm still a husband. If I wake up, I'm still a podcaster, aspiring TED talker. Yeah. But I still wake up and I'm still these things. So it's like, because I've lived it so long, and that was one of the adding factors of my mental breakdown and the point in my life where everything just caved in, and I had to step back and say, "Hey, I can't do this anymore because
something's not working."
If it's this challenging for me at 24, 25, I don't want to be 49, 50 still dealing with this crap. Like, no, that's not.
And that's the thing
not
too,
me, and that's not what's intended for
some
my
people
life.
Like basically live the same life.
We see
year
that
after year.
We see that, and I don't want that at all.
I can't imagine. Like I look at where I was this time last year, and I'm such a more peaceful, like better person. Like don't get me wrong, I still make mistakes. I'm still like have my moments where I'm down and I'm crying.
But that comes with
exactly.
With it.
But to like know where I was like this time last year, like I said, like when I stepped into 25, when I was like 10 years ago, when I was like, man, I'm 25, I'm gonna be engaged.
You thought you haven't mapped out, but
I have this nice house. My career's gonna be popping. Like I really had this little life for myself, and that whole little thing just started falling apart. I was like, but what I can say is I'm growing every day. I'm more and more growing into the woman that I always envisioned myself to be. So if everything else comes after that, and then I'll fall into place when it's supposed to, like
it does though.
Yeah, and it like when it's supposed to, it will happen. But I know that I'm progressively growing as a person, and I'd rather be growing as a person right now, and my career takes off a little later than for me to have a career and then I don't know who I am. And it's like you have all these different celebrities who are like famous, have everything that most people say they want, but they're still like
they have access. I mean. Yeah. Because that's all money is. It's just access. It gives you access to things that other people can't have. Because they don't have that money to get them there. Yeah. But I feel like I'm the same way. And I told my wife this a while ago. And some other close friends. I told them, I said, I feel like this is my season where I'm developing the characteristics of who I'm supposed to be. So when God sends the access, it does not change me.
Exactly.
It does not alter the step or the mindset. That mindset is going to be the same every day I wake up. So I have to go through this growth process that's somewhat painful and extremely challenging. It's been core shaking on some stages. Yeah. But ultimately, all it does is strengthen. Yeah. Like when you lift weights, the heavier you lift, when you first start doing it, it is impossible. Yeah. But over consistent practice and time, it becomes possible.
And I think this was so great about like the human form. Like, we'll never be perfect, but we're adaptive. Yeah. So it's like, you hear about these people who go through these situations, and then you're like, how did you get to there? Adapted. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing is learning. That's the biggest part about innovation is learning when to adapt. Yeah. And how, because you can adapt and it not be the right way.
And then it won't be captivating. It's just you change.
Exactly. But so I think it's just important. One of the things you did say that I really want to make sure we touch on is the fact of even when you're dealing, like when you're finding your purpose and you're being innovative, to take your relationships to other people and cast them aside. And not saying they're not important, but you need to know who you are in non-attachment to those around you. Yeah. Because it's like, yes, like with you, like you're a dad, you're a husband, you know what I'm saying, you're a brother, you're a son. you're all these different things, but you're still Byron, and you need to know like who BJ is and what who that means without these different relationships. Because I'm never that person, knock on wood, but if everything else fell apart, you still need to have yourself.
Yeah, when I wake up, I'm still me.
Exactly.
And these are just my other titles and hats that I operate in.
But it's very important to know like who you are, and I'll keep going back to that, knowing your truth and walking in your truth.
It's important because I remember it was one point in my life I didn't know who I was, and the people that everybody else saw me as was just things I was doing to win their acceptance.
Exactly. And that was like a big thing for me.
I was miserable. Oh my gosh.
That was a huge thing for me. And this is like, especially because I am, like I said, to a certain degree, I am open and provocative, and I'm a free spirit. I say it's free spirit. And it's like, I don't really like clothes. Like, most times you see me. I don't think
most people like clothes.
I don't too much like wearing clothes. Like, I'm usually like pretty like naked all the time.
I'm a summer baby. So
exactly. I just like when the summer hits and the sun comes out, I'm like, yes, please.
Yes, I feel you.
But some people see that and they see me not even like me not being clothed, but the fact that I'm so open, they see it as a bad thing. Because it's like, why is she spilling all this tea and not all this, why is she so open about these traumas that she went through or these issues that she's going through? Like, some people see it as you being, when you're trying to be helpful, and people just see it as like, you just, giving all this excessive information. But it's just like, the way I see it is, that's just not the person that was supposed to hear that message.
Yeah.
And you really have to like bring it back to it. It's just like,
but like you said,
can see it. Yeah. People can see you however they want. But at the end of the day, like, I know who I am. Yeah. Because I've had people say like stuff about me, and I'm just like, that's not who I am at all. Yeah. And it's like, what part? And then you be wondering like, what kind of energy am I giving off to where you think that's what I am? You know?
Yeah. But, you said it though. You hit it on the nose. Because I'm in my truth, I can if I expose this area of me, it's gonna reach the person it's meant to reach. Exactly. And because I believe that and hold true to that,
it's like this morning, like last night. I think even we had been trying to like plan to do this podcast, but I feel like we did it. It ended up being at the right time that it's supposed to happen. Because like even this morning, like when we first got here, you were like, "How's your mom?" And I was like, And I think this morning I finally wrote like a post about just having like toxic parents, and up until this point, I wasn't able to do that because there were certain truths that I didn't want to admit to myself. But I wrote that, and then I've been having people message me all day, basically thanking me for being so open. And
I see that a lot when you post a lot of
stuff.
And
it's just like it's the craziest thing. It's refreshing, but it's like they hit me like 2:00 in the morning. Like they was like, you need to post about toxic parents in the morning, and I was just like, because I've been like, I'm supposed to like release a blog. People have been asking me to do a blog, so I did the book. Because I was like, okay, if I can write the book,
then that'll be the platform for the blog.
And I was like, I can do this,
or backwards, vice versa. You can do a blog, then drop a book.
But but at first I was like, okay, I can give like a peek, because when I decided I wanted to do my blog, I want to do it very open and very truthful. But it's like certain truths that I didn't want to reveal to the world yet. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest ones was like my issues with my mom. Like people, like you said, you and your mom were good, and I was like, no, we weren't. I just had a really good face.
That was the image.
Yeah, because people, you don't want to show like the one parent I do got is not healthy.
What I need.
So exactly, and so like even writing that this morning, like when I hit hit post, I just gotta take like a deep breath, and when I posted it, because it was just like, I know this is what I'm supposed to do, and I know in order to reach and walk further into my truth and my purpose, this is what I have to do.
Dude, you gotta do
it. But I was like, this is a lot. Like it was like, it really like last night when I was thinking about it, like it almost wanted to bring me to tears, because nobody I think wants to have a bad relationship.
Nobody wants to talk about.
And nobody wants to talk about, even like we talk about toxic people, toxic friends, toxic co-workers, toxic about, but like for your mom to be the toxic person in your life, like it's a lot. And I think that like, and using that, I know it, like I said, people have been messaging me like all morning about like thank you, or like it's like this one chick I went to college with, she was like, we basically lived the same life and I had no idea, you know, and she was like, and I wish we had like got together soon. And I was like, and I told her, it's like one of those things, we were so shielded when we were so busy keeping this like facade up, that we didn't allow a real friendship to perform.
We spend Nah, you're right. When I first started teaching, I had prayed and asked God, I said, why am I teaching? Like, because if you know me, I wanted to be Michael Jackson's drummer by the time I got out of high school. That didn't happen because Michael Jackson died. So
I wanted to dance for him with him.
Yeah,
so you know
the plan changed.
Right? He was
So,
like, dang,
now
I
what
wasn't
I'm gonna
expecting
do?
that.
Who's else is popular? Yeah. So the plan changed. I didn't go to college straight out of high school.
Yeah.
My mom was like, go to barber college. And I was like, Mama, what the heck? All right, I don't even like cutting hair. What? I hated it. But I did it. And she told me some years later, she said, I told you to go to barber college because I know you like to hustle. Mm-hmm. And I would rather you hustle legally than illegally to make money. And now it's starting to work out for me. And then when I did 2 years at Tyler Junior College, came home, started cutting hair, and I was wrestling with it because I didn't want to cut hair. I wanted to finish a year at school with this girl I was just so in love with. It was just not for me at the time. So I'm at home and I'm wrestling with being in my purpose, but my mom is like, no, you need to cut hair. This is what you're supposed to do. This is going to work out. And for at least a year and a half, too, I just kept finding reasons why I shouldn't do it. But
and it's like you be fighting it,
yes.
but you it's like every time
it was so
you make an excuse for it. You know you're making an excuse. Like that's the biggest thing. Is like when you make an excuse as to why can't I do this? Why I have a kid? Well, that's an excuse for somebody else is in a worse position.
Yeah.
Did what you said you can't do
and made it happen. The thing is, I didn't want to like it and accept it, so I never made the mindset to accept it. Mm-hmm. So I was always messing up haircuts, wasn't making no money, wasn't getting no clients because I kept finding excuses on why I shouldn't do it. But then I said, you know what? It was July 4th, my second year, going into my third year, and I said, you know what? I'm going to make this, I'm going to live this. I'm a barber, I'm excited about it, I'm going to give it the best I got. I know I'm terrible, but I can get better because it's just practice. Yeah. And when I said that, the door opened to go into being an aide. And my buddy called me and he was like, hey man, they got a teaching job. I think you'll like it. I was like, man, heck no, I don't want to teach. I want to cut hair now. Yeah. And my mom talked to me sometime after that and was like, you ever thought about teaching? Did you take the job that he told you? And I was like, Mama, no, I'm a barber. I don't do that. I'm a hustler. And she was like, you don't even know when God is blessing you. Yeah. And so I took the job, and that just opened the door for a lot of stuff. But in doing that, I was asking God, I was like, why am I teaching? And he said, because you know what it is to perpetuate habits that'll follow you to adulthood. Mm-hmm. When I say that, you lied so you could be accepted. You did things to be accepted. You continued in that. And you started in elementary because you didn't know who you were, and you were insecure about that. You got to middle school. You practice that, so now you're starting to cultivate this life, and then cultivating this life, high school to college, just full blown. And if you just look back at some of the things you've done, you only did it because it was a lie. And now you're having to sit back and reassess to a certain point. So if you can teach kids at this age, hey, if you can just be you, that you put your 6 steps ahead. Yeah. Because they'll practice being them in middle school and in high school. So by the time they're in college and they get that unlimited freedom, they're not practicing something that's not them, but they're practicing that one little seed that I planted of being them. That could ultimately just change and shape the world. And
that's so important. I was in 4th grade.
So yeah.
And my teacher told me, he was like, I was like really good at math. Like I've always been like a really great like student. Because it just came easily. Like I remember stuff really well. Like that was like nothing for me. I think in talking about purpose, it's like one of those things that, especially when I got ready to go to school, I'm intelligent enough to be a doctor. Yeah. To be a engineer, to be these different things. It doesn't bring me joy. There's no purpose in it for me. Yeah.
That's the underlying tone.
When it came to it
and fulfillment.
Yeah, when it came to it, I had to really look at it, and I'm like, I'm gonna go more of an arts route. Yeah. And even still now I fight with it sometimes because I'm like, I know I could be this thing, but then something hits me. It's like that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And like I said, go back to the thing when I was in like 4th grade. My teacher, he was like, you're very beautiful, and I know like it's weird for like I had a male teacher, and he would say that, but it was he's like you're a very beautiful girl. He was like, but what makes you different? And I was like, well, I'm really smart. And he was like, well, take that and use that. And now I was in 4th grade. I was like 9 years old, and that has like stuck with me throughout my life. As far as like, well, about having value and your morals and your beliefs and really like sticking through that. Like your face, like let's be real. Like being attractive opens certain doors for you. Yeah. But what does your work ethic and who are you? Your values.
Who you are.
What is that?
Is this substantial?
Exactly, and that's why I said even in going into my career, I'm still always mindful of how I portray myself. Not really portray myself, but who I am, because I never want to get to the point to where in an industry, I'm not who I say and know to be.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. That's interesting. We're getting ready to wrap up.
Yeah.
But I felt like that's the reason why I'm teaching, because if I can just plant that seed of being true to you, I've done something impactful. Whether I see it in 2 years or 15 years, because that's a truth I had to learn for myself. Is that
and it'll come back.
I falsified myself for a million years, it felt like. And now I'm to the point, that's why I'm like, if I'm going to get out here, I'm going to do it. Because, one, this is what I want to do. This is ultimately what's willed for me. And there's no restraints, because I've restrained myself due to lies and falsifications. And now, because this is what I'm supposed to be doing, I care less what the next man thinks. Not to be arrogant or rude.
You walking in your truth.
It's not gonna restrain me from doing what I have in my heart to do.
Exactly.
So we can talk about your future things. Do you have anything you're planning to do? You say you want to write another book.
I am gonna write another book.
How long is this book gonna be?
I'm not sure yet. I kind of I let it kind of grow organically. I have kind of basis for it. Like I said, it's gonna be more of like a journal type rather than like an actual book. So it's gonna be more like me talking to myself.
Yeah.
And that's that. I'm also starting my blog. I put it concrete this morning that I'm gonna do it. Like I said, after I posted that post, that was like the last bit of truth I had to get out to the world for me to be able to be
open and start writing.
I
seen this TED talk about this lady who has a blog about addressing the big questions, the elephants in the room. I'm gonna find it. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay. Because it sounds like you're on the same path of addressing the elephant in the room. Yeah, the elephant and being in the room, with that.
It's sometimes the elephant in the room, and sometimes it's just addressing what needs to be addressed. Yeah. And I don't ever come to it whenever I write a post and it's like a meaningful post, I never walk and be like, I want this to change people's lives. It's like something's in me talk about this is talk internal. About that. Yeah. And it's just over the last 3 years, how old am I? 25. So over the last 4 years, I've been very truthful in a lot of stuff I say and stuff I read, and just being honest. And if you follow me on Facebook, I'm very verbal about how I feel about stuff
in the moment.
And some people don't like it, and I had to grow to understand that for some people I'm going to be too much for, and it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me. It doesn't mean that I need to silence myself. It literally means that I'm just too much for certain people.
Yeah, I never understood that. How people just keep living in a falsified state,
because
I feel
it's based off of your reality.
Yeah, I feel like a new leaf is turned, and how could I ever just continue to pretend for so long? Now where I'm at and where I'm operating and what I'm striving to do, it doesn't baffle me, but it's just if I lost it this quick, I was losing it.
And it's crazy because when you look at who you were, who you are now, and then who you were 6 months ago, it's who is that person?
Yeah.
Yep. And then you look at yourself think about high school, because we've known each other since high school. Think about who you were in high school. You're I don't even know that girl anymore.
And when people see me, I be like, man, that was the fake me. This is the real me.
Or people now that I get that a lot. They're you're so.
Hey baby.
They're you're so expressive now. You're so open now, and I'm just I've always been like this. It's just who did I allow in?
Yeah, I was
because my friends I don't know if you know Valais.
Yeah, I know
Valais. That's who encouraged me to write the book. Valais was just Valais is always known for this to be me. But everybody else didn't. Yeah. Because I talked to her and I just be real, Yeah. But then other people, it wasn't a fear of not fitting in. It's just
you don't know.
If I'm the only person who's talking about these things, is it me?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I went through a lot. Be well, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, that's nasty. No, Jnai, no. Yeah, no,
Jnai.
that was my thing. It's just because it's so much is happening. You're growing, so you're starting to see the world in the beauty that it's in, its colors, its dark and lights.
Yeah.
And so it's like I want to make sure that my stamp or impression on the world is light and not dark. Yeah. You want to try to rid of all the dark things, but
even still, like,
the
I think
darker tones
yourself,
brings the
it's like a picture. Like, you need those darkness, you need those shadows.
Tones. The negative brings some light, and it brings the overall.
Well, one of the things I had to learn about myself is that, like, the things you don't necessarily like about yourself, they aren't necessarily negative. They just aren't the best. And so people talk about your light and being this light, but you have to also address your shadows.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't mean that you're any less because you have to address those shadows. But until you
really
stand into it, because it is a part of who you are. We all have parts of us that aren't that great. Yeah. Like, we be like, whew, I should do better. Moments.
Yeah.
Like, my mouth, like, sometimes when people come at me wrong, I bite.
Snap.
And it's not like an intentional. What I say is truthful, but I've also learned to, like, maybe I shouldn't be so blunt about it.
No, I'm like that with driving, and I have to just, like, make sure I don't say anything offensive. Yeah. Because it'll snowball, but I try to check myself. Yeah. So I feel that. Okay, last 3 things, and we can wrap it up. This has been a good podcast. How do you you talked about how you incorporate embracing your purpose. Mm-hmm. You talked about the 3 things you do that makes a good day for you. Yeah. And okay, so finish talking about your goals, because you've already talked about why being yourself is important in this day and time. So
my goals.
Yeah, finish up on your goals,
so
and you can do your shout outs.
My biggest goal is just to really, like, walk further into my truth. And that's been like the tone of this week is, like, everything I'm doing needs to be intentional. Why is it intentional? Because I want to walk in my purpose. Yeah. Like, I'm really, like, it's like crazy. I'm telling you, this podcast hit on the perfect week. Yeah. Everything. I've been so productive. It's like, whoa. Yeah. Y'all got so much stuff.
So you're doing a lot of things that's making you feel good.
Like, I'm like, okay. That's good. My goals, I want to be like this, like, world-renowned choreographer. It's like slowly progressing. I've been asked to, like, choreograph, like, solos. I'm choreographing my first team hip hop for competition, because I've choreographed, like, team click dances before, but my first, like, team hip hop next month. Like, solos, duets, trios, like, all kind of stuff is just, like, happening. Eventually, my main, like, one of my biggest goals is, like, dance with Beyonce. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but somehow in some aspect I'm end up working with Beyonce. It's like one of those things.
You just know.
I just feel it. And somehow, whether I'm, like, designing for her or these different things, I do have some business ideas that I don't want to, like, tell them.
Yeah, tell them too much.
But it's just, as a dancer, there are certain needs that I know need to be met in the dance world. And I'm working on a project right now that'll help with that.
Okay.
And then, my blog. I just want to have a successful blog. I want to create a platform that allows, people, but more specifically women, and even more specific than that, Black women, to really come somewhere and ask questions and have someone who's not afraid to create the discussion.
Yeah. So. Okay, that sounds cool. That sounds good. Any shout outs you want to do? I feel like time has been well spent.
I know.
I'm excited. This was a good episode.
I just want to shout out to, like, my brother. He's always, like, super supportive of everything I do. If I know I have nobody else's support, I have his. He's, like, 6 years younger than me, but you never know. It's like we're, like, yin and yang. To, my manager, T, she's great. I go to her for everything. Yeah. I'm like, what do you think about this? How much should I charge for this? Like, and she's always there pushing me. Like, some of them nights of me shooting those videos, we were in the studio until like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And she was right there like, you got to keep going. See? You got to do another one. He said 5 tonight. You got to do this 5.
See, you did your March Madness thing.
I did my March Madness.
That was crazy, man. I was like, I need to find a March Madness project and drop some stuff like Future. I thought that was tight, though, because it's like every day.
And then I got, like, life hit.
Yeah.
And then, like, I hadn't, like, been posting. And me and my brother, I was like, I have to post 30. It was 31, I think, March had. So I was like, I have to post one for every day. So I went and I recorded, like, 15 videos in one day. When I said I was in the studio from, like, 5 to, like, 2 o'clock in the morning. No, it was 5 to, like, 10.
That's
10:30, something like that. And I did them, like, back to back to back. So some of them was choreographed, some of them was just, like, straight freestyles. But I was like, I told myself that I was going to do this, so I need to do it.
See, and that's what I am about this podcast. I said I was going to have 3 seasons by December. Yeah. It's 21 episodes. Because there's 7 episodes in every season. Yeah. it's easier to keep up with stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's my goal, and it's coming slowly but surely. I mean, I've hit a rough spot where I was just like, nobody's hearing my stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I want to do a March Madness project where it's just, and I think I'm gonna think more on it. I think I'll try to incorporate a lot of people and every day do something in some aspect that's beneficial to somebody.
Like, even if you post a picture, like this one chick I know, she does she's doing a 90-day thing, and she's posting like a picture from each day that brings her like happiness or joy. And even that, because like even if your whole world's falling apart, you still have to find that one thing. And that's where like even like with a confidence thing, because I teach a lot of like younger girls who are going through like confidence issues, because we all have them. Like it's a part of the thing. I teach them like as you're brushing your teeth in the morning, look in the mirror, find one thing that you like about yourself. And even if it's like you like the way like this eye is shaped,
and bring it back. You bring yourself back to that.
And I had one student. She was so self-conscious about dancing, and I was like, "Well, you have to do it. Like you sign up, you've been doing it all year. You perform it." And she was like, "Miss Breeya, like I can't." Yeah. And I was like, "What I want you to do is I want you to go every day for this next week. Every day as you're brushing your teeth in the morning, say this one thing." Yeah. And when I came back the next week, because it's like a once a week class, when she came back, I asked her, I said, "Did you do it?" She says, "Yes." I said, "How do you?" She said, "I feel way better. I feel way more confident." And I was like, "So it helped?" And she goes, "Yeah." And it's like to see her like this year, like walk into class and to see her dancing, even with her messing up, you can see that like confidence.
The instillment of confidence. That's crazy. Yeah,
no. There's like little stuff that just like forcing yourself to like yourself is like a key thing.
That's good. That's good. Finish your shout outs though.
Shout out to my brother, shout out to T, shout out to my nana, shout out to my boyfriend.
Hey, baby.
He'll probably listen to this. He's really great. Nobody knows I have a boyfriend, so this is like the
yeah, you didn't have to put that out there, but hey,
no, but it's fine. No, he's great. He's like really, especially in this whole like me pushing forward thing. He's just like always there to like help and push ideas off. So
that's what companionship is.
Yeah, he's pretty great. So
it's my rock baby. All three of them. Hey. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Like always, I want to shout out my listeners, guys. You guys are really doing something important. If it wasn't for my listeners, I wouldn't be doing this. Nah, I still probably would. My wife was my only fan base. It's cool. But shout out to y'all. Remember to rate and subscribe. Email me at allnapsmatter@gmail.com. The website is coming up. I'm working on some updating stuff. Still got a pair in the basket. I'm working on pulling it out. The YouTube channel is coming up. I think the video stopped. So yeah, guys, be on the lookout for all that interesting stuff. Get that out of your mouth. Thank you. I want to shout out to my daughter Jnai, who gave me an untimely feature on the podcast. We still love her. So yeah, guys, stay tuned for next week's episode. Until then, be blessed. One love. What's up, guys? Welcome back for another episode. We're episode 9, I believe so. Oh, the power just cut off. Great. It's another episode. Thank you for tuning in. I have a lovely guest, Miss Tia Gold. She's here to visit with us. Yeah, you can say hi. It's recording. So let's continue with the conversation, even though we had a power outage.
That's cool.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do.
My name is Tia Gold. Look at that. My name is Tia Gold. I'm a singer-songwriter. I started doing music. Well, I've been songwriting since I was like 12, but I've been doing like my own music for like the last 3 or 4 years. Just put out my first project. Like I've put out singles and videos up until now, but I just put out my first EP, and it's called Cry Baby. It's a 6-song EP. So I'm really proud of that. But yes, that's it.
That's it.
I'm a mom.
Yeah, you are a mom.
I'm a mom. I think that's important to say too.
I'm new in parenthood.
Yeah, welcome.
Celebrating My first baby's birthday coming up in a few weeks.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
First birthday's always
Really
stressful.
exciting.
Yeah.
I always tell my wife I'm not gonna be that parent that goes extra
On the first birthday, that's good.
But it's like, after you make it through a year, the
You
little
look
pat
so
on your back
yeah.
is appropriate, so I understand. But now, that's good. That's good. I remember you were singing high school and everything. And did you know then that this is what you wanted to do, or how did this all unfold?
So I knew, like, as a kid that I wanted to entertain, like, as a kid, like, but I went through these different phases. So at first I was like, okay, I want to be a dance choreographer. That was my first, thing. And then it became, I want to be a comedian because I think I'm really funny. And so, naturally, like, I just be like, I love, making people laugh. And I wanted to be a comedian. My grandma was like, well, baby, they don't make a lot of money. I was like 7. She's like, they don't make a lot of money. You might want to change, but they make a lot of money now.
They do make a lot of money.
Yeah,
like,
so
with movies and stand-ups.
Yeah, but at the time, I guess she didn't see that, fit. So when she told me that, I was like, oh. But then I found out that I could, like, write songs and sing a little bit to myself. So that one was like, and I love music. Yeah. So for me, I was like, oh, like this one might be it. Yeah. So once I started learning how to write songs when I was about 12, I was still really, really shy though. Yeah. So I kept a lot of that to myself. Like I would, put it on cassette tapes and just kind of, like record it.
You still got them?
I wish. No, I know. I have the VHS just because eventually I started making videos of myself. But I wish I had the cassettes. I don't. But yeah. So then by the time high school rolled around, I would still write songs like to myself,
Nobody ever.
But people knew I could sing by that time though, because I was in choir and stuff. Yeah. And then I think it was like it was our junior year. Are you gonna say my junior year? And we did pop show, and I got to do like Lauryn Hill, "Killing Me Softly" at the pop show, and that was my first time
just
being able to perform. Yeah, and so my family and stuff, they were like, Tia, you're good. Yeah, I was like, okay. So after that, I was like, okay, for sure. But
keep going.
Yeah, so after that, my plan was to definitely graduate high school and pursue music as a career. But then, of course, had my daughter, so I was like, I gotta figure something out.
So when did you have your daughter?
I got pregnant the second semester of my senior year in high school.
What?
Yeah, nobody knew. Nobody knew. So I started wearing loose t-shirts and stuff, and I didn't show a lot. So I was 6 months by the time I graduated.
Well, see,
but
nobody knew.
Except my close friends. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. No, I didn't know.
Yeah, no.
So when I seen you a few years ago, I seen your daughter, I was like, you're a kid.
A lot of people, they were like, I didn't. Yeah. No.
Yeah, 7-8 years ago, I was in a whole different world.
Yeah.
My mindset was very,
was it different?
I should have had a kid in high school. But, thank Jesus.
Yeah. No, he got me. He was like,
They're blessings, but
They are, but it's a definite. It's not easy at all.
No,
at all.
Sometimes the partnering. It's the partnership.
Yeah, that makes it
really
another.
Yeah. Can make it.
And then I was so young, and my head was so focused on as soon as I get out of school, I'm going to do music. That was my legit.
I'm moving to New York.
Yeah, no, literally, it was either New York or California. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna be a starving artist, but you can't starve when you're pregnant. That's I think that's illegal, actually. Yeah, you have to feed the baby.
Starve, but the baby
can't starve. So it was I couldn't do that. So immediately I was really distraught for a while. Yeah. So my first that second semester of high school for me was I'm what am I supposed to
have a baby?
Yeah, and I mean, me and her dad are good, and we're good, and had decided, okay, we're gonna do this, but it was still heavy because you're a teenager, you're selfish, you really just think, but you're okay to be selfish. You're a teenager.
I had my first child at 25, and I was pulling my hair out.
Yeah.
So I can imagine the 17-year-old me about to have a kid.
That's crazy. But once I decided I was gonna have her, I was like, okay, you gotta work, gotta find a job. You know what I'm saying? I went into mommy mode immediately. And so for a while I was like, okay, well I can't do music. I won't be able to do music. That's it. And then finally like something clicked like a year or two later or something, and I was like, you know what? Like our parents sacrificed a lot, you know, like sacrifice. Just when you have a child, you're gonna sacrifice regardless.
Yeah, sacrifice.
But I look at my parents. Yes, I look at my parents and like I know all the stuff that they wanted to do. Like my dad's super talented. Like he can draw. Like he's a visual artist. He can play the guitar. He can sing. Like stuff like that. And like there's so many. He was a boxer. He was like a semi-pro boxer when I was growing up, and then he stopped once all three of us came. Yeah, and so like I think about that, and now they're older and they just, you know, they worked and then that was it. And I'm like, dang, like I don't want
that fulfillment.
I don't want that, you know, like I mean, sacrifice is a beautiful thing. That's one thing.
No, I understand the picture you're painting.
Yeah, but I definitely want to show my daughter that like life doesn't stop. You know, like whenever stuff gets thrown at you, like
responsibility.
Yeah, when responsibility comes, you just have to. You don't change like your goal. You change your game plan. Stuff gets harder. Yeah, you just adapt. You just kind of keep going. So I want to show her that regardless, that which is one of the main reasons I like still pursue what I want. And even if I fail in the end, I want her to be like, my mom tried her hardest as far as her dreams. You know what I'm saying?
And it's a balancing act.
Yeah, and I want her to be that passionate about whatever it is that she wants to do, and not let like life and life circumstances kind of deter her from that. So that's
the ultimate reason why you're still going.
Well, I'm still going.
On top of
like me loving it and not letting. Yeah.
Okay,
but on top of that, I just really want to be the example of like your current situation never determines your final destination.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I kind of like always pushed for her. So like that's what I want to be, that example.
Children watch you.
Yes, and like she wants to be an acrobat, like and a gymnast, and she takes the monkey bars serious. And I think that's something when you see something in your child and they're really passionate about it. Like there's no reason to like not cultivate and just let them, you know, grow in that. So when I was a kid, being in a recording studio sounded like far fetched, you know. But now it's a regular.
It's possible.
Yeah.
See, and what I'm thinking now is that it's like polar opposites, the mindsets of the generations.
Yeah. Now
most of our parents' generation was like, no, we don't cultivate dreams.
It was logical.
We cultivate being logical, and we cultivate being sustainable, sustaining yourself. But we know, and what we believe is that we believe in the impossible because we serve a possible God.
Yes.
It's not to always bring it back to Bible, but
definitely.
That's the core belief. Yeah. He did the impossible.
Mm-hmm. And having faith that
if we believe that, we don't need to be the right on time mindset. Mm-hmm. Well, he's right on time, and that's the best in life. No, it should be more than that. And if it's in our talent and will and our purpose, then it will be.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I respect that, because it's kind of the same thing that I'm starting to understand. It's just that on this tip, it's more the drive and focus is, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and because I know this is what I'm doing, I'll be, abundant in it. Mm-hmm. I'll be able to go further than I could ever imagine. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I'm teaching my daughters to trust the will that God has for your life, and seek your purpose. Your life is, you can do the impossible. Yeah, no. But I'm never the type to be like, oh, you like drawing? No, that's not realistic. Yeah, because it doesn't bring access, because that's really all we're chasing is. I believe that, and another friend of mine told me that, and it made me look at money in a different light, because money is, all it does is bring access. It doesn't bring monetary happiness, and we hear it all the time. It doesn't really bring joy and peace. It just brings, it gives us access to more stuff. Yeah. If you have more, that's all it is. So I don't want to paint the pictures, because I have daughters that they need to do anything to keep a certain level of access. If you find out what you're supposed to be doing, then you're gonna and watch, that stuff will come. So I believe that, and I feel like that's the silent battle that our generation as parents are fighting from what we were raised and cultivated on. No, of course not. Yeah, you're supposed to live within your means. Yeah, you're supposed to be a good steward. Yeah, you're supposed to do all these things that we were taught. But at the same time, why not question? Why not think, hey, I can shoot for the stars. Push for your, I can shoot for the stars. I don't have to sit and just be okay with chilling like everybody else.
Comfortable at what's like what's practical and logical. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have to sit and say, oh well, I'll just do enough to get by. I should aspire to want more if this is what's rightfully mine.
If that's what he implanted in me, then why can't I? You know what I mean? Yeah, explore that and eventually find your purpose. And even if it's not what you thought it, chances are it's like so much greater. But you know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna know until you start taking the steps towards that. And then he opens whatever doors that he chooses to put you through.
But once you know it's your purpose, you start to live a different life because it's like I'm taking the steps I'm supposed to be taking, there's no sense of regret. And then my scope and focus is different. It's not for the monetary reasons.
Yeah.
It's
so I'm not all over the place just trying to find.
Yeah. But I mean, of course, you gotta work and take care of your family.
But
I always thought that was crazy. Like, and then when I think about it, before my mom passed, she was so keen on, if you see God first, He'll tell you what you're supposed to do, and you'll never be in the position where you have regrets. You'll never sit back and say, oh well, I could have did this, but I never did it. No, you'd be like, oh well, I knew I was supposed to do this,
so I'm not missing.
Even though I had kids and I started a family, I knew this is the way I was supposed to go.
And to backtrack, like even with the job thing, like how you said, we still have to have that. I mean, because you do until you get to, you know what I'm saying, as far as what you want. But what I've learned is because what I wanted to do or what I did was I've always had a thing for teen moms just because of the simple fact that was my situation, you know, and I feel like once you become like a teen parent, people are like, oh, well, that one failed, let's focus on the ones that, you know. So I went back to Decaney, and they have a teen mom class that I went to like twice a month when I was in school, that senior year. And so I went to Decaney and I went to talk to the teen moms about following your dreams, not letting your situation, that whole thing, and like kind of, you know, following your passion. So, but anyway, before I did that, I looked over a bunch of different like videos about following your passions, following your dreams, and it was so like conflicting because some people were like, "That's just hoopla, like don't chase that. Passion is a feeling, it fades," which is true. And then they were like, "Good job." Then you have some that were like, "Go for it." That were like, "Go for it, fearlessly, aim for what you want," blah blah. So I was like, okay, I found this happy medium of it's okay to pursue your dreams. You will have to have an income and a job, but you even find purpose within that job. You know what I'm saying? Like make sure that that's still somewhat like. So my day job, I'm a leasing agent. And one thing that I've kind of found is my thing with like God and how I impart people's lives is I'm sort of a light. Per se, you know what I'm saying? Like my personality is more so of a light, and and a kind of a positive, like
you can help.
Just
be
kind
the
of
example with other.
And just kind of like make
in the
people's
area you're at now.
Day and just stuff like that, So like having to talk to people as a listening agent on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying?
You're dealing with combative people. Everybody's on edge.
Right, but you're building relationships and you don't know what kind of impression you're leaving on this person. So like you still that light, you're still feeling your purpose. So even if I'm not like singing and entertaining at this point, I'm conversing and genuinely asking people how they doing.
And that's when it starts to unfold what purpose really is, because I feel like the center core of purpose, or the confirmation key code for purpose, is the ability to serve others and present the light to them and bring them to the light. And we know the light is Jesus Christ. And like I said, it's not Bible talk, but that's what purpose is. It's to bring that sense of fulfillment and light to people. So if you're able to do that in whatever realm or set, you're doing what you're supposed to do. And I feel like with the happy medium, of course, I look at it within reason. I can have so much aspiration to chase what I'm doing. But at the same time, one, it has to, of course, provide finances. But what I ultimately focus on is what you said. If I'm bringing some sense of light to somebody else through my 9 to 5, then that's a shade of purpose. That's
definitely
that form of me being in my purpose. Like this, I cut hair, and when I first started, I was like, Mom, no. Because, like you, my aspiration was to be Michael Jackson's drummer. But he died when we were in high school, so I had to, like, change my dream. And I still was chasing to be the best percussionist and musician I could ever be. But that was just a talent. And when I took hold barbering, I finally said, all right, you know, after wasting months, almost like 2 years of hating what I'm doing because I was fixated on everything else. When I started to say, okay, this is my purpose and this is what you will for me to do, that's when another door opened and said, okay, now I can move you to this point and position where now you're continuing to instill, you know, truths in other people in another platform. And if you continue this way, it's going to keep opening doors. And you'll be able to be that arrow in the warrior's hand that goes further than you could ever imagine. So I'm kind of on the same page. Well, I am on the same page with that because I'm never going to be the parent or the person to tell the people, hey, you cannot chase your dreams and do what you aspire, what's been created in you to be. Chase that. But, you know, within reason. And then what you'll realize is that you get to a point in your life where you're able to do 10, 20 different things all at once. And you be like, man, I never thought I'd get to this position. Because it's possible. Yeah. So, I feel that, and I respect that. But, I guess we can go ahead and jump right into today's topic, which is adversity. I try not to randomly select topics, but I feel like you're a person who has faced adversity.
Just gave a whole background.
I mean, and not in the sense of like somebody being biased or like bigotry or anything like that, but I felt like you've had to face some challenging situations in your life, and it's now helped birth the person that you are today. So I wanted to talk about that. So give us your definition of adversity and what do you think it means to you?
Adversity.
It's
just like what? Okay.
You can give the Webster's definition. So
like it's just, you know, to me, adversity is, you know, like tough situations or happenings that happen challenging situations that can occur throughout your life, and that's, you know, it's adversity.
Okay.
Challenging, unexpected, and
that's what you think it is. To me,
what is the Webster Dictionary? Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I have to look it up. Webster's definition of adversity. You can pull it up on your phone. Adversity. It says difficulties, misfortune.
Look at that.
I think that's
right there.
Textbook.
Yeah, that's pretty much,
And that's pretty much what you said. And so we can just go ahead and textbook say your first challenge or first difficult situation was choosing to sing when everybody told you not to be a singer, or
nobody ever told me not to be.
No one ever told you not to be. They told you not to be
Thankfully,
the filmmaker and the comedian.
They told me not to be the comedian. Is what they told me not to be. My grandma told me that. No, they never told me not to be. I told myself that I could, which is crazy.
Wow.
It's just really crazy. Because sometimes I'll sit down and I'll think, even when there are times where I'm like, I'm not going to do music anymore. Like, my friends and family have been so supportive, like, from the jump. Like, I've met, ran into, like, a singer guy. My sister's with me. My sister goes with me to different stuff. And he was like, was they the ones picking on you, telling you, you know, like, not to, da-da-da. And my sister was like, no. And he was like, nobody ever. I was like, no. Nobody has ever looked at me and be like, you know, you shouldn't do music.
That.
Yeah, like, no, thankfully. I mean, because I feel like that'll probably make me feel some kind of way.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah, no, I was never.
Why were you down?
Because to me, looking at life and looking at my circumstances, being a young mom, and like I said, when you're a parent, you have to sacrifice. That's all. Like, and mentally,
because that was subconsciously what
that was
we were
rooted.
taught.
Yeah, like that's what you seen. That was what was rooted. It was like it just made sense, you know. And then going to school is like, okay, you graduate, you go to college, you do something,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, logical, and just like something that you can just see and like, okay, this makes sense, and I'm gonna do this, whatever,
Yeah.
you know. So to me, once I became a parent, it didn't make sense. It didn't sound like.
But it's okay to be
possible.
radical.
Exactly.
Like I see it. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I see it between me and my wife. My wife is very structured and logical, which is nothing wrong. But I'm the polar opposite. I'm radical. Like,
Let's go.
I literally be like, all right, this money gonna have to show up.
Because here we go.
I don't know.
Let's do it.
And I believe that so much to the T. If
Well,
God forbid,
I'm more so like your wife. So
logical,
I
I think that's
need
instilled in
like
people.
it is so weird.
But that
I'm
sense
a
of
dreamer,
structure is
and
important.
I'm a dreamer and I want it, whatever. But like the structure in me is like.
But
you know,
he wouldn't
so
give
that's
us
what
the innate ability to chase the things that are inside of us.
If he didn't want us, yeah.
I'm not saying like you're inspired to be Jay-Z, but that's not your gift or talent.
Right.
That's illogical and that's just retarded. It's not in a, you know what I mean? That's just,
it's just like
you crazy. You just,
what's your?
You're trying to conjure up something that's not you.
There,
And I've said that before. You're out of pocket when you conjure up things that God has not willed
put
you.
Yeah.
I am believing and investing in things that has been birthed in me. And because of that, I'm super radical about it.
Oh, okay. So I got it. It's like a
but now I feel you. But still at the same time,
so
it's like, okay, you got to go this way first before you can get over there. Timed out. Yeah, but I mean, okay, and like you're saying, it's
But yeah, it was definitely me when it came to music. As far as that was me getting over myself.
But why would you always stop yourself? If you know,
because it originally it did. Like I said, once I got into that situation, the only thing for me became like almost like survival mode. It was like I have to provide. I have to, you know what I'm saying? Like I have to feel this. Yeah, nothing else is important. It's like the rest of it. And then once it like I kind of chilled out and but it was me. Nobody else. Literally nobody else. Thankfully, it's like that's something that I have to deal with. But yeah, so now it's been, I guess, what other than adversity, that being a pregnant teenager though, that's a big
that was
one.
the biggest
thing. That was the first big thing.
Talk us through that.
I mean,
so when you but your family was supportive though, right?
Weirdly
my
mom's they really were. My mom was a minister. And so, you know,
see, that was my biggest fear because my mom was a minister too.
So it's like, the way she reacted was like, okay, this had to be God. The way she reacted was so calm and so supportive. Like, it was like, okay, we often at the same time, really, like, I whenever I took the pregnancy test, like, it was on my restroom counter. She came in and seen me crying. I was like, what's wrong? It was like me, her, and my daughter's dad. And she was like, oh, she looked at the test. She was like, are you hungry? Like that, I was like,
kept going.
Yeah, and it just, because my parents knew how much I want, her and my dad both knew how much I wanted to, like, you know, live and just, you know, go. California. That they felt like if they would have been aggressive towards me or been upset with me, that I would have
aborted the baby.
Because I'm not necessarily against it. I'm not.
I
really am pro-choice. I'm being honest.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough pickle because everybody's situation is different.
It's different.
And that's what I'm starting to understand as a parent.
Yeah, you can't.
But at the same time, it is like, you know, it is like for the situations that, you know, incest, like
or whatever
incest conception against will. You know, that you bring that baby into that chaos.
And then people are always like, well, you could just
keep that mother
give it
in that
for
chaos.
adoption. But sometimes kids get adopted and they're still mistreated and have horrible lives.
It's a lot. It's a lot to weigh in. And I'm at the point where it's like I'm at an understanding point, but I'm never like, oh, that's wrong, or oh, it's right. Cause
that's what I'm saying. I'm just like pro, like,
it just
you and your situation.
It's scary.
You can't tell.
It's a scary thing, and it's a big decision.
And you have to be careful. If this person that is bringing this, you can't force the person to bring that baby in their life if they absolutely feel like they're not.
It's scary.
You know?
It's scary.
But I think that's what my parents were so
Yeah.
calm about it. I think that's really what it was.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we just and his family was supportive, and he was, you know, like we were. She came into like a very happy village, you know, which is important. Great, yeah. Like her family foundation, as far as like yeah, she good. Like his sisters, my sister's family, my mom,
and that's always important when you bring a child into the picture, because people don't understand the seeds that are planted and what will eventually manifest. Yeah. On top of the genetic traits that they already pick up. Because if I'm wild and belligerent and my wife is wild and belligerent,
then she already
it's a 50-50 chance times another 50-50 chance that the baby will have the same thing. And bring it into like a chaotic village. That's when you gotta be selfless and do what's better for the blessing, because children are blessings from God. But keep going.
But what were we talking about?
I guess you're walking us through. All that.
But so that was like the first. That was the first thing. But it wasn't. Again, it really wasn't because of my family. It wasn't because of anybody around me. It was I personally felt like I let myself down. I let myself down. And I felt like I limited my. I feel like I let myself down, and I feel like I limited my. And this is again before my understanding of like what is still possible and capable. Like clicked in. This was just like teenage Tia, distraught and just like, oh my God, like I'm a statistic now. You know what I'm saying? Like you just start thinking about
straight
because you straight there. That you literally like a lot, and that's why I had to go talk to those girls, because in your head, like you've already put yourself on pause and limited yourself to what you can possibly do, because like that's what society, that's what you see most of the time, you know, like I limited myself at that point. I was sad about it. I was you had all these plans, and then at the time you just feel like none of that is possible. None of that is possible. Like, so that was what that was. That was my first. That was it. That was the biggest one. I mean, younger, really, it was, you know, my parents being divorced and that kind of stuff, and growing up in a single parent household, and you know, so that's like, it's somewhat, when I grow up, I'm like, okay, that's a tough situation to kind of grow up in, and that's adversity also. But that was something that was out of my control, and you know, and then it affects you when you're older as far as how you deal with people.
It's the stepping stone, and I feel like, especially now, because I'm married and I'm starting to have my own family, I'm learning that what me and my wife set in motion is going to be, it's wavelengths. It's going to reach my grandchildren's children.
No, it really is.
So I'm really keen on like, hey, I can't be a belligerent drunk.
Yeah, no.
Even though life is stressful. I gotta go sit my butt in the corner and pray and drink some coffee.
Chill out.
And pray these things out. Because she's not watching it now at 10 months, but at 11 years old.
3 and 5 and 11,
that stuff is gonna really tell the test.
And when she's older, you know what I'm saying? Like me as an adult woman, so like my parents separated.
It was how you interact.
It was like domestic abuse with my parents. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of thing, and like when you grow up, you're like, I don't. And it's so weird because then I have friends that are like, no, I've never thought about that when I got in a relationship. My whole mental was like, well, I hope he didn't hit me. You know, nobody's ever tried to hit me, but like that's like something that's ingrained. You're like, nah, like
get it popping.
Exactly. 100%. It's like I can't because what if you think that you're bold enough to? And they were like, what?
I heard of the elements, you know, like from my parents, because they were divorced as well. My mom was a minister before she went on to glory. And so, I mean, of course, I started realizing and finding out as I was an adult. And now that I look back, it's like because of those incidents and those scenarios.
Carried it with you and didn't even know.
It carried with me in the sense that I know I have the potential to go there. And then at the same time, because I know, I'll never, like, if a situation arises, my wife will tell you now, like, when stuff get heated, alright, I stop talking and I displace myself. But not even in a relationship sense. That's just social.
Yeah, just
when heat arises, I'll be like, man, I'm not in it. Because I've seen the effects of that, and I've just programmed in my mind, I'm never going to get to that point. So yeah, I feel you on that. We're wrapping up on our first half. We're going to go ahead and pause right here, guys, but keep listening because I feel like this conversation is about to get really, really exciting. All right, peace. All right, guys, back in part 2 here with Tia Gold. We jumped right into the topic, adversity. She started talking about, her first forms of adversity and all the things that it entailed. We're going to continue in that conversation. I'm more than open to share some of my moments of adversity where I kind of said I'm either put up or shut up. So let's jump right into it.
Let's go.
So, talked about singing and the choice you made, but what was the biggest challenge being a singer and mommy?
Ooh.
What was like the biggest thing that you had to subdue in a sense that it doesn't overtake you? Because I feel like what I've realized in my life and my little just scenarios that I went through is that sometimes the fear of the situation of how it'll go shapes my overall temperament. And like how I conduct myself. So I'll be so fixated on the worst outcome that I never just enjoy where I'm currently at. And so share, tell us.
What's the biggest? Really, I think it comes down to time for me. Like, it always feels like there's like literally never enough time. Well, at least in the beginning, it felt like there was never enough time, and it felt like anytime that I like you have to go network, especially when like you're an artist. Like you gotta go network, you gotta go to these things. The city has these things, this is that. Yeah. You also have to take care of home, make sure help with homework, drop off at school, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, pickups, feed, of course.
Care, all this
stuff.
Like
go to bed. You gotta also take care of a whole human being. You know what I'm saying? So and I never want to feel like I'm pulling time away from her with our time. Yeah, to do that. And so that for me was like a big thing. But like I said, when it comes down to as far as sacrifice, like with me doing this while she's younger versus when she's old, to make her life easier in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, if I sacrifice sometime here, then I have to kind of focus on what the end goal is. Then instead of beating myself up on it, because like the mom conscious would be like, oh man, but like so there's that. But then like the longer I've been doing it, now the years gone by, I've just learned to really like decipher and just like know what is worth.
What's worth?
Not like necessarily worth. You know what I'm saying? But like I'm not going.
I get what you're saying.
Like it's real easy for me to tell now. Like this is not something that I have to be at. This is not something that I have to do. If it's a session, if it's a studio session, I already recorded a draft at home with ad libs, backgrounds, blah blah. So I'm about to go here and I'm about to knock this out because I know exactly what I'm doing, and it's not gonna take me forever. Like when people like, oh, come through vibe, let's write. I don't come through vibe, right? We can do that at home. I'm a parent. I can't just.
I don't have that luxury.
To just hang out at the studio and just like chill and kicking it. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, she has another parent. He's a great parent, and whenever he has her, then I have time. But if I'm full time. You know what I'm saying? Like if I have her or whatever the case may be, I don't have, like you said, I don't have the luxury of just, I'm just gonna go and no, everything is real. If I'm gonna go do a show. You paying me, or this is really good publicity, but I'm not about to just go hang out at one of the circles that I done ran around before and just, and just sing just to say, I'm out here singing somewhere. No.
And it's not to be, like I'm better than y'all.
No, it's not.
You said you put stuff into perspective.
Yes,
that was my biggest thing. Is like I'm out here putting more emphasis on stuff that really don't matter when I could really just apply my sense of, my reason and sense to like I can apply my time and sense to something sensible. So I understand and get that completely. We're gonna take a quick pause real quick. We'll continue the conversation.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.